So, good morning. Greetings on this Sunday. So, I have story time. Now, I have only experienced this once in my life. With someone who I let live with me. A guy that I'm seeing who is too friendly with my neighbors. Now, I could say that in the past, before I met my ex of 5 years, Terrell also kind of disrespected me with one of my neighbors, but it's like I really don't have any proof, but at the same time, I had a neighbor who lived next door to me, and she was a known bop, pass around, HOE, all that. She was. And I could not stand her. So I have an intuition that because he used to come to Terrell used to come to my house a lot. I have an intuition that he had broke up with me over the phone and started seeing her because I just feel like that he did. That's another story time. But I'm talking about my ex of 5 years. Okay, so now, meanwhile, my ex of 5 years living with me and everything, and everything seemed okay, but there's a respect that I demand. The person that's living in my household know that he don't have no roof or a pot to piss in. But he have the audacity to be friendly with my neighbors and to be flaunting that in my face. When he know how I am. He know that I was easy to be like, get your clothes and stuff and get out of my house. Cause you living with me. And it was already a situation that happened with him and my other next door neighbor, who was this older woman at the time. She was 49, or she probably was 50. But she's the one who called me, texting me first. She texted me first, and she put a bunch of laughing emojis talking about how her and my ex of 5 years was sitting on my porch having a beer together and talking, and he made her laugh and all this. And I got upset about it, and I made a story time about this twice. And I said how I confronted her and him about it because I'm way on the other side of town at Texas Children's Hospital because my daughter was very, very sick with her asthma. My daughter has chronic asthma. So I was already, not over that. I got him back for that, though, by sneaking off with Terrell and everything, but it seemed like it just, even though I got him back for that, he kept doing things. So he was mad because At this time, he had another car. He had two cars while he was living with me. One car he sold. And this car he got was from his brother who had passed away. It was a truck that was given to him. So, the same lady who came to my apartment and told me she was going to evict me because of him, cursing her out a long time ago. She put a sticker on his truck for it to get towed. So I told him, let me tell you something. What you not gonna do is keep going off on that lady. Don't you go in that office and say nothing to her. But he say, I'm mad. I want to cuss her out. She keep on effing with me. She always putting stickers on my vehicles. I'm like, I don't care. Because I'm going to tell you straight up. If you go and cuss her out and go off on her the way that you did in the past, you're not coming back over here. And that's a promise. I'm not letting you back after a month later like I did last time after you almost got me evicted and almost got me arrested because of you. He say, man, I'm just finna go take a walk because I'm mad. You telling me I can't go off on her? If she do evict you, you can just come and live with me and my sister. I'm like, I don't want to go stay with your peoples. Your peoples act funny with me. And I'm telling you, if I had a choice, I would not go come and live with you with any of your family. I have family who I could stay with, but at the same time, I don't want to stay with nobody. I like having my own apartment, my own space. But I'm telling you, don't you go into that office and go off on that lady and almost get me evicted like you almost did once because you ain't supposed to be here because you did that in the first place. So he's upset. He go for a walk and he's walking, pacing back and forth outside. I'm looking out of my window at him. Then he gets on the phone with his family, talking about what my landlord had put a sticker on his truck and he mad and all that. And then I had a neighbor, okay? This was a neighbor, a lady who I never really spoke to. Didn't have anything to do with, but whether I knew her or had anything to do with her or whatever, he ain't supposed to approach no female neighbors of mine. I don't understand why he kept doing that to me, as if he just knew I was gonna keep putting up with that. I just would let things slide, but the more I would think about it, then I would tell him he would have to leave because you're not gonna keep disrespecting me. You standing with me. You already not helping me pay my rent. So the lady, this real chubby, kind of fat, light skinned lady was sitting in her car, and she was smoking a cigarette and listening to music. So he had stopped by her car while he was pacing back and forth because he's upset, mad, or whatever. Nobody care. He had stopped by her car and asked her for a cigarette, and she gave him a cigarette. So once he smoked the cigarette, and then he comes in the house, and I confront him immediately. I'm like, why are you always disrespecting me? Talking to these female neighbors of mine. He said, look, I only asked her, could I have a cigarette because I'm frustrated and I'm mad. I'm like, you got one more time to talk to any of my neighbors and you're out of here. He said, well, I have a sister who don't stay too far. He had two sisters. He said, I have two sisters who don't live too far from you. I can go and stay with either one of them. I'm like, well, you need to go. But I told him, I don't care what you're mad about. So another situation came about. I had a neighbor who had just moved, right, up under me. He became friends with, it was a lady and her daughter and a man. The lady had a teenage daughter. And but he was friends with the lady. The lady was like 50 years old. So one day he tells me that she borrowed $5 from him. I'm like, you went and gave another woman $5 to borrow? What I had asking me, he's like, I don't have to ask you nothing. I'm like, first off, you keep disrespecting me while you're living with me, and I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but you are in my household. You already do other things that I don't like. You come home late and then have the audacity to talk smart to me. And it's just remembering these things, it just really irritates me because it brings back memories, not so nice memories. And this song that I'm listening to is hated. It's dedicated to him because I truly can't stand him. But anyway, okay, I'm hungry as hell right now, but I'm getting off. Schedule trying to remember this story time, but it ain't hard to remember because it's a bunch of situations that happened with him and neighbors who lived in my apartment complex. So I'm like, you don't be going behind my back and letting whoever this neighbor of mine is, because she didn't hang with me. She wasn't friends with me, but he had the audacity to loan her $5 behind my back. Then went over there a week later talking about I'm finna knock on her door and ask her if she got my $5. I'm like, dude, whatever. But another neighbor of mine's now was also a female, and this lady, she was like kind of slow in the head. And I never really, I don't know. I didn't know this lady or whatever. She stayed in the back of my apartment complex, but somehow he knew her. So he tells me he's fixing to walk. He fixing to go spend the night at his sister's house, and he says that he's he has his bike. He's talking about how he fixing to ride the bus to his sister's house, and he's gonna have his bike with him. But he caught up. The lady and him was talking and walking together. So I called him once. I thought he got on the bus, and I'm talking about And I told him, who was that lady you talking to? He's like, well, she's a friend of my family. I've known her all my life. I'm like, you have an excuse for everything. You go find yourself kicked out for real. He's like, damn man, what I do now? I'm like, you always doing something. Because I don't care how I show you how much I love you by letting you live with me, and you're always doing things. Okay, so a situation came up with the same lady who I say that I suspect that Terrell had something going on with back in the day. But this particular neighbor stayed on the other side of me, next door to me. Now she was the loose, pass around, bop, HOE, all that. She was. And he tells me that he was at the corner store and she was coming out of the corner store with a pack of cigarettes, and she saw that he had got his car stuck in the ditch, but he got the car out. And then he said that she had said to him, if you needed some help, you could have asked me. I would have helped you. And then he said that she told him, you want to put your number in my phone? And he told me, which I'm shocked that he said that he told her, I'm in a relationship. I can't be letting you put your number in my phone. And then she was like, okay, well, I'm just being neighborly because I know you live with my neighbor. And okay, mind you, all these males that she would have come visit her. And I never disrespected her when none of those men who would come see her and all that. But she was always watching whatever man come to my house or whatever. Now, he tells me, okay, at this time I had this job at the airport because I hadn't worked at the airport in a long time. This is the same job that me and him went to a hiring event. I got hired and he didn't because he had felonies and he had been to jail before. So he was upset with me about that. And I did make a story time about that, how he was acting salty with me because he didn't get hired for the airport job I did. So he tells me while I was at work one afternoon, she came and rang the doorbell and asked him if he dropped a SNAP card, a food stamp card that she found in the grass. Now, he claimed that he told her no and he closed the door, but I know he held a long conversation with her. I just know he did because I know the type of person that his crazy Gemini self is. And then finally, the situation with my 22-year-old neighbor who lived up front stayed up front of the apartment complex with her daughter. Now, I've already made a story time about the situation because I did say that he was my daughter was friends with her daughter, okay, but I had sent him to go ring the woman doorbell one time because my daughter had, usually would come over there and knock on the door for her daughter. But I sent him to go get my daughter. I sent him to go knock on the woman door. Now, what had happened was my daughter was in the 22-year-old female house. My daughter tells me that he told her to go home. Okay, because I stayed right around the corner in the other section inside of the same apartment complex. And my daughter tells me he's still talking to the female and had saw that he was putting her number in his phone when he told her to go home. Okay? So, another time my daughter used to always ride her bike outside back in this was, my daughter was 8 years old. She said that he was coming through the gate on his bike. She ran up to him and they started talking. She tells me that he reached in his pocket and gave her some money. Okay. Now, mind you, with my daughter telling me all this, I didn't confront him about none of these incidents until one day I decided me and him got into an argument and I told him what I'd been told that he did. And then there's another situation. Another female neighbor of mine. My daughter was outside riding her bike. She tells me him and the neighbor was talking to each other. And the lady went in the house and got him a beer and gave it to him, and he was talking to her. So I confronted him about that. And I swear, of all those incidents that happened with that old crazy, stupid Gemini person who I was involved with for 5 years, when I tell you that's why I've learned not to never let a man in my personal space and never let a man come live with me. That's the reason. It's other things I went through too, but that's where I draw the line. You're not finna be friendly with my female neighbors and think that I'm gonna be cool with it, because I'm not. Let me rephrase that. He and I did eventually break up, and that was in 2020. Well, we was already broken up, but that was the last time I let him spend the night with me because I had been kicked him out. But this nigga is truly like sick in the head. I'm gonna say in 2020, I moved from those apartments I was living in. And it had been a month since I had moved. Now, this is what I find crazy. The two neighbors, the neighbor who gave him a beer, the female, and then another female neighbor who had offered him to come to her house and play cards with her. They called my phone one afternoon and then talking about, well, he's looking for you. He gave me your number to call, and he's in the background saying stuff. I'm like, first off, if he wanted to know where I was at, what he doing having you two females call me? Then the female who gave him the beer gets on the phone with the lady talking about, well, he said that you told him that you felt like me and him was messing around. I ain't never messed around with him. I have a man. I only gave him a beer. I'm like, I really don't give a fuck. Like, and I was trying not to curse in this video, but that situation pissed me off because I'm like, what you get on the phone telling me all this for? If you was messing around with him, even though you did give him a beer, I don't care. Because I had been cheated on him, but at the same time, like, get off the phone. Like, I told them females, I'm like, you tell him I said it's over. And I don't care what he do. And tell him that I said he's slow and he retarded. Because what he needs y'all to call me and tell me this, why did I move? And then tell him for. Then I hung up, I slammed the phone down in their face. They calls back. He has the female who gave him a beer to call my phone, but she left a voicemail cussing me out, calling me a hoe and whatnot. And he was in the background talking. Now, I'm just so glad that that person been removed out of my life. But I'm about to end this video because I do have to get my day started. I'm about to cook some greens and candy yams, meals that people cook on Sunday, and I'm about to try to enjoy my day. And I'm ending this video now, and until then, y'all stay blessed.